Can you really build true wealth with no-code apps? That's what we're going to talk about today. Now, we work with entrepreneurs each and every day who are building no-code apps to generate wealth for themselves. Now, this is different than people who are just trying to build apps so they can get rich. We're talking about building wealth. And the difference is when you're building wealth, yes, you are looking to build an income for yourself that helps support yourself, support your family. You're doing that by building an asset, building an application, but you're also doing so with the intent to create the type of lifestyle you want, to maybe control your schedule more than you currently are, to build the type of lifestyle that allows you to own the thing that is generating income for you and to really control the thing that is generating that income. That's what I'm talking about when building wealth. So it goes well beyond just making money. And this is what the entrepreneurs who we work with are focused on. And so if that's the type of thing that you're looking to do as well, this is the video for you. Now, make sure you stick around until the end, because I also want to send you to another training that does a really deep dive into getting started with your app and ultimately your app-based business. So stick around for that. Now, first, if you're new around here, my name is Kristen, and I'm the co-founder of Coaching No Code Apps, where we help business owners and industry experts build custom apps to either start their app-based businesses or grow their existing businesses, all without coding and with no technical background required. And what I want to sort of guide you through today is how people are building wealth by doing those two things I just mentioned: building apps to either start their new app-based businesses or building apps to scale existing businesses they have. And the wealth factor comes into play with both of those. So first, what I want to do is share my screen. We're going to start at the very beginning. We're going to go through the current way a lot of people, and maybe yourself, are looking at making money and supporting yourselves, and the way that ideally you're wanting to move into, or maybe you just know there needs to be a change and you're not sure what that should look like yet. So we're going to go through both of those, and we're going to divide this up here by looking at, let's say, the current and the old way of generating income or building wealth, and we'll look at the new way, which really does focus on building the type of wealth that we talked about, which incorporates lifestyle more than just money itself. So the way that we're kind of conditioned to support ourselves is to work for money, right? So you go to work, you make money. You are trading your work for money, right? Pretty straightforward. And with that, your income is always tied to your time or your team. Okay, so if you're the one who is doing the work and you're getting paid for the work, your income is directly tied to your time. You can only make so much income that your time allows you. There are only 24 hours in the day. Or if you have a team, if you have a business and you're building an app for your business, maybe, then your income is tied to your team, right? Your income was initially tied to your time, then you expanded with team. Now it's tied to your team. Okay, so that's something that is not necessarily scalable in the way that a lot of people are wanting in a business or in a job, right? Something that helps them make money. They want something that can generate revenue for themselves and support themselves, their families, but without being capped on their time or without being 100% dependent on their time. So that brings us to the other side, the new way. You create an asset for yourself. So a lot of the entrepreneurs who we work with, they are looking to build assets for themselves, and long-term assets, things that can have the potential to generate revenue that in no way is tied to their time, aside from getting the venture started, managing it, but in terms of hours to money, that's not a correlation that we're looking at in this. And really you want your income to be tied to two things, right? Your product and your marketing. Now, you can do marketing a lot of different ways. You can outsource your marketing, you can bring someone on to do the marketing. And so really your income is tied to your product. And in that, to dig a little bit deeper, your income is tied to the fact that you're solving a problem, okay? And when you look at the new way versus the old way, you're trading your time for money, and that's all there is to it. There's only so many hours in the day, so it's only so scalable. The new way, you are creating an asset for yourself, and your income is tied to that asset and really to your ability to just talk about that asset in a way that matters to people, which is something that you can learn to do, and that it can be infinitely scalable because you can talk about your product in a very one-to-many way. You don't have to talk to people one-on-one. You can spread the word very vastly, right? That is very scalable, okay? So with this new way here, we're looking at building no-code apps. And specifically no-code apps, because when you are outsourcing an application or the development of an app to a traditional development agency, that costs a ton of money. And so it pretty much immediately eliminates the possibility of this new way for most people, because most people don't have the $100,000, $200,000 lying around to build the very first version of their product. Sure, they could generate a bunch of funding and work really hard on that, but it's not the route that a lot of people want to take when, again, they're looking at building true wealth in the way that we talked about. Okay, so with no-code apps, the beauty is you don't have to outsource to traditional development agencies. You can build the app yourself. You can create this asset for yourself. And if you want to bring other people in to help with the development, you can, right? A lot of our entrepreneurs, they're building their assets themselves, but because they have complete control over them, well, they down the road, when they are focusing on, the marketing, they can bring on junior developers in-house, train them on their app, right? Onboard them really easily, because these entrepreneurs are the ones who built their apps, and have a much more scalable business that's a lot more stable and secure as well. It's a lot less risky. So in looking at building no-code apps to build wealth, now we're going to talk about specifically the asset. Okay, the asset, of course, is the app. And I want to talk about 3 different ways you can be using this asset to generate that wealth for yourself. So the first way over here on the left is when you want to just add additional revenue to your existing income. Okay, so not everyone wants to just quit their jobs, throw everything aside, and go full in on this new app idea that they have and try to, take over the internet with it, right? Again, we're speaking to the type of person here who wants to build wealth for themselves in a stable, sustainable way. And in a lot of cases, this is just an additional revenue stream. It's just adding an additional revenue stream onto whatever it is they're currently doing. So maybe you yourself are working a regular 9-to-5, but it's not helping you save the amount that you really want to, or it's not helping you hit maybe the retirement goals that you want to. It's not giving you the lifestyle that you want to have. And so a lot of people who we work with are aiming to build an app that just serves as an additional revenue stream. Doesn't have to be something massive, doesn't have to be something they're trying to, take over the internet or take over the world with. It's just something that can give them a little bit more stability and enable the type of lifestyle that they really want to live. Now, this can be an app that's related to what they're currently doing. I suggest it be related to something you have existing knowledge of, right? Some problem that you already know exists, that you already ideally deal with, so that you know the ins and outs of it and that you can solve. It's okay if it's a B2B app, if it's for businesses, it's okay if it's for consumers, as long as you know how to solve a problem and you have some sort of connection to the industry or the market. It's just going to help you build easier traction. So that's one way. And then another way is when people are looking to replace their careers. Okay, so this takes it a step up. Instead of just wanting to build an additional revenue stream, a lot of entrepreneurs, they want to completely replace their current careers, whether they're working, again, a 9-to-5, they're working for someone else, or maybe they have their own business already. We see a lot of service-based businesses, freelance consultant type businesses, and these people are coming in wanting to replace that, because service-based businesses, freelance, right, that all falls into this up here, where it's time for money. It's not scalable. And for most people, it's not sustainable for the long run, because most people don't want to have to, most people who fall into this category of like the service-based businesses, freelancers, consultants, they don't want to have to trade their time for money forever. So a lot of them are looking to replace their careers. And the really cool thing about this is you can build an app in a lot of cases that does what you do. Maybe not exactly, but it can maybe replace your services. Maybe it's a lower touch point, right? It's an app that solves a similar problem that you are solving with your services, but maybe it's a lower touch point, which means you can bring on a higher volume of users. Maybe you are looking to build something that lets you solve a similar problem as to what your current services, job, career solves, but maybe just a different piece of the problem. Okay, and then again, the cool thing about that is that you have the knowledge, you have the experience in the industry or with the market. You likely have connections within that market. Maybe you have existing customers, clients of your own who would be potential users for this app. So you have a really solid launching pad. And so this is a way that we see a lot of people aiming to build wealth. They're already making money. It's not that they need to launch an app because they're struggling to make an income. It's that they want something that's more scalable, and they're looking at an app-based business model as being a lot more scalable than a money for hours model. Okay, and with no-code apps specifically, of course, they don't have to spend a lot of money outsourcing, and they can build the product themselves. And then the last box over here, and this one, it's kind of similar, but some people are looking to supplement. Okay, so instead of replace, they're just wanting to supplement their career or their business. Okay, so regardless of whether you are working for someone else or you do have some sort of business, a lot of people are looking to supplement that career and business. And so this is kind of like the additional revenue over here, but it's a little bit different in that generally this type of person is building an app that is directly related to their job or their business. And in a lot of cases, it's tied to that job or that business. So for example, we talked about in this last box over here, some people are looking to replace their careers with maybe something that's a little bit lower touch point so that they can bring a higher volume of customers onto it. While some people who fall into this category, they don't necessarily want to replace their jobs or their businesses, but they want to add that on. So it's kind of like a combination of this additional revenue box and the replace career box, where they're looking to complement their existing career, complement their existing business with something that adds in additional revenue. So it can be something that is if it's for a business, it can be something that's offered within the business. So maybe instead of just offering time for money relationship with customers, you offer your time for money as the upper tier, and maybe you offer an app as a lower tier, or maybe you offer both. Maybe you bundle your services with an app. So now you can sell these services at a much higher price point, right? So there's a lot of ways in which you can supplement and just add more value to what you're already doing. We see people doing this in their careers too. We see people who are coming up with app ideas to solve problems within companies they work for, and they're pitching these apps to their management, and their management is funding the development of the apps. And these employees are building the apps. They're still working their current jobs, but now they're adding value to themselves. They're building their own skills. They're also adding value in the form of an app that solves a company problem. So it's a way to supplement. So these three boxes, they're all ways in which you can build longer term wealth for yourself. And it of course starts by building this asset, by building the app. Okay. And if you are the type of person who feels stuck over here, right? You are working for your money, you are trading your time for your money, and you want to come over here where you create an asset that works for you instead, then building an app-based business model, or building an app to scale within an existing business or company, right, to help that business or company scale, that can be an option for you to create a different type of lifestyle. So to create wealth in the way that brings you the income, the support, but also brings you the control, the flexibility, and really the enjoyment over having something of your own. So hopefully this is helpful for you in seeing what's possible and what other people are doing. Now, caveat, it takes work. It's not easy. No part of this video is to say that this is a simple thing, right? I'm not telling you how to get rich or anything like that. This is just the reality of what some people are doing and the reality of what you can do if you want to. So I hope that's helpful for you. I mentioned I'd be sharing a free training that can expand on this. If you head to coachingnocodeapps.com/workshop, you'll find a training there that's going to guide you through the first steps of how to make sure you are building your app by following the right strategy, which is very important because you don't want to spend the next 2 years trying to build this asset, which is what we see a lot of people doing, unfortunately. You want to contain that, you want to get it up and running, and you want to build it a lot more quickly so it can start giving you the return that you're looking for.